But if that was on camera, you got to see, like, if you were like, how do they feel? You can show that shot. That's how we feel about the series.
Whoa, where am I? I remember. I'm at Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we review the first volume of a brand new manga each week. I almost forgot. My name is Josh, the isekai guy, Michaels.
Oh.
And today, I'm joined, as always, by...
Megan, the Paladin Perrine.
Cody Wizard Ghost Decker.
You would definitely be the wizard.
Yeah.
Ghost.
And I'm Volume 1, Sean, I guess.
Volume 1, John, why are you so sad?
Yeah, after reading this series, it really made me question where I came from. I realized I don't remember anything about my past.
You know who does remember things about their past? William.
Well, we're not really talking about him right now, are we?
Right. No. We don't mean to be insensitive, but we're going to have to put a pin in that. Look, we're going to get back to that later. It is one of the great mysteries of this show. But we have a review to get to. And that review today is... Each week is Volume 1 of the Far Away Paladin. It's the first isekai I think we've done on our channel. I'm a huge fan of isekai. I love Konosuba. I love ReZero. I love that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Those are probably my top 3 go-tos. Not a sword art guy. That seems to be a popular one.
Is that an isekai?
Yeah. I
like a
think
video
it's
game.
Classified.
Isekai.
But
right?
yeah, I think there's subgenres, and I think it falls within a subgenre of isekai. And I could be wrong. Look, I might get.
Yikes.
You
might get a call from the yikes department.
Yeah. Good thing my phone's on silent, huh?
Solid.
Good thing my phone's not on vibrate. Silent.
It's on silent. I heard about this series because I am interested in isekai, and I've wanted to talk about an isekai on this podcast, but didn't know what to review. Also, it just tends to be that most isekai start as light novels, which is the case for this series as well. And then those light novels are adapted into manga and then are adapted into anime. And look, I'd love to read a light novel too. I just prefer manga. I also am a little like, I'm a little weary on like reading a manga that's based on a light novel because it's just another, step that the story could get.
I have found that the closer you get to the rawest form that someone can do on their own, the more like unique that story will be. Like with Goblin Slayer, the manga actually dialed things way down. The anime dialed things way down. So if you can see how this is their pure creative vision, and then you get to see what were things that people went, you can't have that in there.
Yeah. They have more freedom, I guess.
You're like the farther down the chain you go, you get to see more and more creative freedom.
Yeah.
And I would even argue that in this manga, it felt like a light novel.
Really?
With a lot of the dialogue, it felt like they just would copy paste.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I felt. And I am gonna say I'm not the biggest fan of the isekai genre in general.
Okay.
Are
you agreeing with her?
That's what I was gonna get to. I did not like this manga.
You did not like this manga?
I didn't like it at all.
And
you did not like this manga?
And I usually give everything a chance.
I loved this manga.
No, you didn't.
I swear to God.
No, you didn't.
I swear to God.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Something about
I swear to God.
I loved the cover. I went in, I didn't know anything
Yeah.
about this. I saw the cover. I like the character design. I like I don't know. You can just feel the wind in the character. I went in. I'm like, okay, here we go. Something about it. My brain immediately stopped caring.
First of all,
I have read worse mangas that I didn't. My brain didn't go we're done.
To the point of the manga cover, it did have a To Your Eternity style cover. It made me feel the same way.
I like the art,
right?
But they're going into and then this is this. I'm like, I do not care.
I was absolutely, truly blown away. Enthralled.
I was throw it away. No, I'm just.
No, that was good.
That was good. No, honestly, I like the synopsis. I like the character design. I like the I like the overall what I was going into. I was very excited, and then it was just flatline.
Well, look, this is great. This is great. We haven't had for an episode.
We haven't had this happen in a while.
Yeah. For everyone wondering why my mouth is great if you can't on camera, I want to just make.
So worried.
I would because I look like a freak. I'm eating a lollipop and I'm dumping it in.
No, she's not. If you're just listening to the audio only, she's not eating.
And I'm dumping it in an espresso shot. It's a very tasty treat.
This is what I will say. I do not approve of this lifestyle.
Yeah,
she's
he does.
she's dipping
Yeah, he
a blow pop
does.
into a
do it for the
gas station
camera.
espresso shot
And they're very good
And her
quality.
hands
espresso.
are shaking right now.
because this might be later in the night. Maybe not the time to combine lollipops
Yeah.
and caffeine.
Yeah. Anyway,
Delicious.
look, this is going to be great to talk about because this hasn't happened
don't like it.
in a long time where we've had such a strong opinion, such a strong different opinion on a series. But speaking of synopsises, Megan, I did write the synopsis down, and I'm going to read it real quick. I don't think there's much to spoil, but I cut out the second half of it because it does go into some stuff that happens later on. But the synopsis for the Far Away Paladin, if you don't know anything about this series, is in a city of the dead, long since ruined and far from human civilization, lives a single human child. His name is Will, and he's going to be raised by 3 undead: the hardy skeletal warrior Blood, the graceful mummified priestess Mary, and the crotchety Cody, spectral sorcerer Gus.
Oh,
cool
the three,
guy.
the 3 poor love.
Cool, fun-loving ghost.
Disagree. The 3 pour love into the boy and teach him all they know.
Yeah. I liked the first page. I will say that. Also, this is a real quick thing about light novels because I know, like, I don't like reading. What you can do if you get a light novel on like an e-reader, or however you get that PDF file, you can just copy that, enter it into a text-to-speech program. You can treat it like an audiobook, and you can just listen to those at work.
Yeah, which for the record, you don't like reading, but you listen to audiobooks almost exclusively. Like,
Yeah.
When you're working at least.
Yeah. So, and I have listened to the Goblin Slayer book, like light novel, that way through like a speech thing at work, and I kept making sure no one could hear what I was listening to.
It's really bad, like English generated.
Yeah.
The Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
He went and killed the goblins.
I'll bet that's exactly what it says.
The way I view it is like, yeah, they mess up the words a lot and the grammar's messed up, but it's like, the reality is I'm not going to read this.
So you'd rather listen to
Yeah.
broken English.
I mean, if it's between that and not reading it, I guess.
Yeah.
But okay, I really.
But if
wanna
you're
get,
just like, oh, this story, it's only in a light novel and I can't wait for a manga, that's a way to, because no, we're never going to read these. No one's ever going to read a book. So
yeah.
no one's ever gonna read
Look,
a book.
I mean, if it's between a light novel and a manga, I'm always going to read the manga. But like I said in the beginning of the episode, I always, I'm afraid that the more things you add, the farther down the chain it goes, that it's going to get farther and farther away from this guy's like real vision.
That's probably why it's called a Far Away Paladin. Because I was so far away reading it, I didn't really care about anything.
Wow. I want to get into why you guys
I needed a
didn't like
palate
it. First of
cleanser
all, I
after the
love
Far Away Paladin.
paladin cleanser.
A paladin cleanser.
The first page, it like implies that like, oh, all I remember is things weren't doing too good in my old life. But I don't like hate isekai. I think it's fascinating that such a specific type of story is considered a genre on its own. The isekais, I like seeing someone be like, where am I? What is this? People like someone just being dropped into a new world. I'm not a huge fan of like someone just walking down the street and they're like, I'm a knight now. Shield Hero, I think that's the most isekai story I've ever like
enjoyed.
gone into. Yeah.
But you like that series.
To a point. It starts getting weird, but
and see, because you guys, I mean, I know we've had contradicting opinions when it comes to like ReZero too, specifically with Subaru, the protagonist, and everything.
I liked him, but again, I with these guys sort of have to be like, all right, sure, he was walking down. It's kind of like a joke where they're like, he was just walking down the street and now he's here. But I like him being like, where am I? What is this? Apple carts? Okay. With this, you don't even get that.
But I like that about this because it specifically and purposely doesn't do that. It doesn't follow that trope. It sets itself apart by not only just, he doesn't get instantly transported to this world. He gets reborn. He's not like the case with Subaru where he wakes up in this other place. He's born into this other world and has to start as a baby, but he has the consciousness of the person he was and the memories that he had.
Were you about to?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Because I feel like you're just holding on.
No, I'm not.
What I like, I like the idea that when you die, you go to like another dimension or whatever. The problem, like that's like another version of reincarnation. The issue is if you don't remember your past life, you still pretty much die. So I like this, like, oh, he keeps all the memories and he wasn't just teleported; he was reborn into it.
Yeah.
And then part of that the only way to like for that to matter would be if you keep all of your memories. Otherwise, if you're reborn in it, what does it matter that you used to work at a grocery store?
Yeah, because you're now a new person. Why would you care?
Like, sure, your soul and essence has been carried over, but like, then why mention that you used to like drive a car?
And don't get me wrong, I do like the concept of the isekai. It's different from what, you wake up and you're, and like Cody said, like, I'm a knight now. Like, I don't really like those stories very much. And I do kind of exclusively like comedy isekai where it's like so ridiculous. They know where they are. They're like, okay, I'm in this time period. I have to do this versus like I have to try to fit in. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You would try your best, but it'd be so hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, Konosuba is literally one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I mean, I mean, and most of what I realized, the figures behind me on the top shelf, most of them are from isekais. Rem, Darkness, Aqua, Megumin. Like I didn't realize how much I do love isekai, but specifically comedy isekai. Like Konosuba is like really high up there on my list, but I don't need them to be funny though,
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I do enjoy comedy isekai versus like serious isekai where it's just like, okay, I've seen this before type of thing. But I did like the originality of it. I liked how I love the concept of like a human person being raised by a different species or like different people. Like I did like a little connection there, but it just didn't. There was moments where I was like, oh, this could be good, and then it just didn't.
I think because there's one point which I think would be the spoiler mark that I was like, oh, okay. When I actually started like caring, but like I have never felt the urge to just start skimming through a story. Even things that I actively have hated more, like Act Age and Samurai 8, I was still like, it was like bad enough for me to be like, what the hell are you talking about?
It felt like you were reading a book.
I'm blown away because I did not have this experience at all. I thought that the writing, especially, and not to mention the art too. The art is fantastic.
Art is great.
Yeah.
But the writing on top of that, I thought was really well written, and it wasn't cheesy. It wasn't corny. It was talking about, where most isekai are like, I'm gonna figure out why I'm in this world, and I'm gonna figure out like how to get back home, or I'm gonna figure out how to get stronger, or whatever. This guy was just like, I didn't like. He has a different realization. He's like, I didn't live in my previous life. Like I took the gift of life and basically threw it in the trash. Like when he's first reborn as a baby, he doesn't know he's a baby. He can't speak. He can't move. He doesn't know where he's at and who these weird people are, this ghost, this mummy, and this undead warrior skeleton man. And then he realizes he's a baby and he thinks he's cursed. And then the mummy Mary, who's the fucking sweetest, takes him outside one day and he realizes like, I haven't been cursed. I'm not in some sort of hell. Like this, this is mercy. Like I've been given a second chance to live. And he's, overlooking this beautiful scenic splash page, like this 2-page sort of spread in the manga. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's a really beautiful story.
A great premise for a story about reincarnation.
Yeah.
But like the stuff in between, like the premise and then like, I guess he just trains and stuff, and
it's just boring.
It's
it's pretty and it's cool and the writing's really good. It's just so boring.
I was truly enthralled the entire time.
I just didn't have that much fun.
It was so hard for me to not buy the second volume immediately.
If this was an anime and I was watching it, I wouldn't. Like I wouldn't. This would be like if it's on, I would. There is nothing more interesting.
Here's what
on my phone that like there were no moments where I'd be like, okay, let me appreciate that. Like it like I'm just hearing like facts and like numbers and like maybe there is something going on. I'm like, is there? Well,
I'll agree with you that if this was an anime, I don't think I would enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed reading it. I've said the opposite about Hell's Paradise. Whereas reading that got very boring at certain parts.
I don't need to know that metal Tau
right.
is strong against wood Tau.
But it has cool character moments, and I'm sure those fight scenes in the anime will be beautiful.
I'm sure that'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see it. However, with this, I would not look forward to watching an anime. I think I get everything I need from the manga. And I really enjoyed reading the manga. And I don't need it to be an anime. But let me ask you guys a few questions to kind of feel out where this is coming from, because you've said that you prefer comedy isekai if isekai
if I watch it at all. Yeah.
Right. How do you feel about the fantasy genre?
In general,
yeah.
it has to be I'm very picky with fantasy stuff. That I like Goblin Slayer. I don't know. I would much rather watch a classic slice of life anything than watch a fantasy genre thing, because it's I just feel like I'm watching the same shit over and over again.
Then there is that interesting thing that even though it's fantasy, it's always orcs, elves, dwarves.
Always the same. And I get it. Like, stories can be different, and I've seen stories where I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty good. But most of the time, it's just isekai, level up, fucking dungeon shit.
They always have video game RPG rules, which is like fun the first time. And you're like, oh, every time?
But not
every
this.
time.
They don't do that
No.
at all.
Yeah, we're talking. And that was the thing with like Shield Hero. I'm like, well, but why though?
And again, like, I do like their relationship. I wish I saw more of them being like an actual family than him training and him getting explained all these rules and prayers and stuff. It took away from like me caring about the characters more than I should have.
If I it would be like pages of like, and these are the gods. You get to pick one, and you'll essentially specialize in that god. I'm like, I don't know, like. Something about the way it was done, because they're like, I have no problem with stories being like very similar to each other, but I just like could not make myself care when they're going into this stuff.
And look, bits aside, jokes aside, like I truly, the way that you guys feel about this series is the way that I felt about Goblin Slayer. Like,
no, no, this genuinely made me understand how you feel about Goblin Slayer. I had a moment where I'm like, something in your brain makes you unable to like form that connection with the main character in the way that something about, because I wouldn't say it's like badly written necessarily. It's not. This isn't something where it's like, oh, that was awful. It was just in this like weird middle range for me where my brain went, who cares?
I think it was the flow of it.
Yeah.
It felt very like everything was just all over the place. It didn't feel like this was, okay, this moment's ended and this one is beginning. Like, it just felt like a full on, just continuing paragraph about all of the shit that you need to know about the world before you get to learn it yourself. It just felt like that's how I felt about it.
I
don't know how else to explain
I don't even have a problem with like awkward or like blatant exposition dumps anymore. That used to be something I'd be like, oh, this is where character. There's a lot of fun ways that you can do exposition dumps. That's not how I felt about it in here. I'm like,
well, let's talk about like, okay,
I don't know, like I don't know if it needed more character moments before. Like there weren't enough character moments for me to want to. They're like explaining the world. I'm like, I don't know enough about this world to even care about how it is.
But I think that's intentional. I think that there's a mystery surrounding the city. There's a mystery surrounding why they are the way they are.
And I get that too.
And I think that's why most isekai like doing the thing where someone is just teleported in. Because then it's like, why are your apples here purple? It's because the magic sap tree. But like, he was born and raised here. So like, why? Like,
because he's in a town in a town that's been isolated. There was some sort of disaster and for whatever reason, these three good people made deals with this god of undeath. And for whatever reason, there's no humans.
It's a mummy, a ghost, and an undead.
Oh my!
Oh my! Yeah.
There's our title, right there.
And a skeleton warrior guy,
but he does have muscles on him, right? Is that?
I
like.
He does.
Megan, are we?
What?
Are we thinking the same thing about this skeleton guy?
I just think he had like a really good personality and like. He was really loving
good
and he stood up for
structure.
good bone
structure. Yeah,
I bet.
Speaking of bones, huh?
I
add another guy to Megan's list.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I something about the character design too. I didn't cotton to.
I loved it, man. I will say that Augustus or whatever, I think his design, it wasn't my favorite.
Which one is that? The ghost?
The ghost.
Ghost wizard.
He was the one where like, what is he, like a snake guy?
Yeah. His design was my least favorite.
Yeah.
And then we just have freaking what's her name from Goblin Slayer?
Mm-hmm.
Priestess?
No, the sword maiden.
Oh, who's Mary? The mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
the one that she wants Goblin Slayers.
Well, here I am not a video game expert. Quite the opposite. I'm not a huge fan.
You?
You're a
of
scrub.
video games.
You're a noob.
a scrub.
You're the one
is
that
a guy
Beyonce
can't
wrote
get-
about
yeah,
not liking.
Can't get no love from me.
Yeah, because Beyonce dates pro gamers, not scrubs.
Yeah.
Gamers. I'm the type of gamer that's gonna play Pokemon all day. They can't wait for Pokemon Snap to come out. But I'm not the kind of gamer who's gonna play Skyrim and play what else do you play? Fallout. What else?
Fallout, thought-provoking pieces of
Okay.
The best storytelling that we have in our century. But go on, it's fine.
Yeah, it's like
Doubt it.
no other medium lets you interact with the story yourself,
No.
and that's simply just
And there's
the way
never
things
been,
are.
like it's like the greatest open sandbox game that's ever been created, or maybe ever will be. But continue.
Oh, I will continue.
Like you
I
can
will
actually
talk
play
more
a game
shit about Fallout
with
3.
books in them.
I will. Oh, I will.
You know nothing.
You don't understand experience, contributing to a story, contributing to life.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've played D&D. I've contributed to many stories.
Oh my God, he's played.
And
D&D.
I've interacted with more.
We saw you at the
fantasy
D&D
worlds.
booth, and you wouldn't leave those poor employees alone.
They
Yeah.
seemed interested in what I
They
had to say.
weren't. We can promise you that they weren't.
Yeah.
Anyway, have you guys heard of a little game then called Dark Souls?
Yeah, I love it.
I have seen people compare this world, these characters, maybe not in every way, shape, and form, but at least in some similar design aspects, some similar like world aspects to Dark Souls.
Now,
Are they boring too?
Well,
I don't know them personally. but-
Now, you guys
I'm
may
joking.
have just opened up the floodgates of Anor Londo right now,
Whoa.
because the Dark Souls story, I would not compare that to it at all. Dark Souls has a beautiful story where it is like you have to piece it together, which is based on the author's trouble, like he loved European fantasy stories, but he didn't understand enough English, so he had to piece the story together himself. This did not feel like, oh, I'm solving like a mystery. I'm part of like figuring this world out. It felt like, and then here's our god structure, and then there's 7 of them, and this is death and life, and that guy's lightning, I think, and
It felt like Volume 1 didn't matter. That you were going to get the story Volume 2. Like nothing, everything you read in Volume 1 was just to set up everything else that's going to happen, which I don't necessarily like. Like I want something to hold on to want me to read more. And I just didn't. I want to read more because I'm like, okay, where did this kid come from? What is his deal? Why are the humans blah, blah, blah. Like, they do string you along in that sense, but I didn't like, I wasn't like enthralled to the point where I just wanted to read to like figure out what the fuck was going on. Not necessarily what I wanted because I wanted to.
Yeah.
oh, it's not I was pointing my finger, but it wasn't on camera. Okay, so like we've all seen that like there's a lot of Volume 1s where it's like, oh, that was like prologue, like Hell's Paradise. I think that's one where it's like the Volume 1 was pretty much just getting you to like understand the premise and caring about the main character. And then there's Volume 1s like Spike's Family where you get to know all of them like kind of intimately. You get to like see them do stuff, and then you see like them do a couple of stories all within one volume. So I don't think it's okay for like a Volume 1 to I don't even think that was prologue.
I think
that felt
for
like
me,
chapter 0 to me.
For me, I get where you guys are coming from, and on a level, I agree that a lot of it was setting up the world, and a lot of it was setting up this character. It was an origin story for him and who he is. But I do think along the way, like I loved the relationship that he had with Mary. I loved the relationship that he had with Blood. I loved
that was great.
You know?
Their relationships are the best part, and then it just kind of gets overshadowed by him training to be.
See, to me, and truly,
yeah. I mean, what
is he?
To me, truly,
I'll admit
remember
that maybe they did explain that, but I genuinely started skimming it because I couldn't care.
It didn't seem like a lot of training to me. It seemed like a lot of moments that he was having with these undead in this place that had no humans for a reason that I was intrigued and really wanting to find out. It seems like there was this moment at the end too with Mary where she's alluding to who Blood was when he was a human, and I'm curious. Like I'm curious as to why these good people made pacts with this demon. Of undeath. Like what was so horrible and what happened and why was it so bad that they that they made this deal? And why does Mary still pray to the goddess of or Mother Earth? Like, why did...
I mean, that was a great scene.
Despite it, like, torturing her and burning her.
There's so many things, like, so many good little scenes that I'm like, I wish this could just make up for my feeling about it.
Yeah,
because I
again.
did like the scene between William and Blood when he stands up for him for fucking what's his name?
Dude,
Gus. He was like, "Hey, he's a fucking 9-year-old kid. Why don't you fucking stop talking to him like that?" And I was like, "Oh shit!"
But just the moment of William too realizing, like, because William is an adult man, or I don't know how old he was when he died, but he's a at least adolescent man in a 9-year-old body, and he has this moment where he realizes, like, oh, he did that for me. And I should thank him. I wasn't that kind of person before. I would just keep these things to myself. I wouldn't. And he stepped out of his comfort zone and did that.
Now, I understand that you like that they didn't show who he was because that's like breaking from the norm a little, which is nice whenever a story does things differently. But I would have cared a lot more about him going like, oh, I didn't used to be that guy if I saw him being that guy, because all I know is that he's not that guy. All I know, at some point he was a worse person than what I'm seeing right now. And like that implication at like the first second page where he's like, yeah, life was bad. I'm like, cool, are we gonna see that? No. Okay, well then you don't really earn a moment of him being like, that's not who I am.
Well, see, the thing is, it's never that he was a bad person. It's that he was a person who just didn't do anything. Like,
well, we all know that the greatest evil is a good person deciding to do nothing.
So where do you fall on the scale of
No,
of
he
evil?
doesn't fall.
I play video games.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that.
No, I did.
No, but you implied that
I
you were
was
a good
painfully
person.
aware. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was implying that he was the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Dr. Evil, if you will.
Dr. Doom, who's a great character.
Oh. But I think what you're saying is I understand what you're saying, that we don't get that version of him, and so it's not deserved, this moment, right? But I disagree in that it leaves it up to the imagination, and we get enough of his past to know who he was, the fact that he didn't do anything. For some reason, like, if he was a bad person, I would want to see what was so bad. But the fact that he didn't do anything, like, we don't need to see someone do nothing. We know what a person doing nothing looks like. Nothing. And that, as far as like telling a story, that's not worth seeing, or that's not worth like, writing about. And I'm sure it was just him locked up in his room, being a NEET, being a whatever. Like,
okay, because like if we're not even gonna be able to, like, he wasn't even a jerk about being a NEET and like mooching off his parents or whatever, and like not showing gratitude, which is the thing they could have done even as someone who did nothing. But okay, so we're gonna disregard that completely. That you still could show character moments from someone who like is like baseline, because if you do nothing, you are a bad person. But that character's life is how I feel about this manga, which is like, okay, fine, whatever. I didn't need to see that. That's how I felt about reading this manga, was like, all right, well, 5 chapters, let's do this.
And I really
love that it was 5 chapters.
I really wanted to like grab onto something and like, okay, this is what I'm going in and I'm gonna enjoy this throughout. And there was moments, like I said, where I was like, okay, this is cool, this is a cool moment, it's a cool moment. It's just like these little cool moments just made up for not me enjoying it all the way through. 3
highlights in this. One of them was like then like turned around into me being like, oh well, then never mind. But with that there's like is the story about to take a turn? And it sort of just doesn't. But there were like highlights in it where I'm like, okay, it was like watching a fighting anime where you go to pay attention when they're fighting. I was like, oh, okay, character moments, all right. Oh, lightning gods, I don't care. I for whatever reason,
look,
do not give
a goblin's ass. Yeah.
Goblin's ass.
Yeah. Look, and for whatever reason, I'll say it. I'm a sucker for it, regardless of it being maybe good or not to some people. Like, learning about these fantasy worlds, and that's the thing about this series too. Like, it felt like a lot of isekai sometimes don't necessarily feel like a fantasy world, at least in the way that like a Tolkien story might feel fantasy. There's like, I think people can classify it as high fantasy versus just like fantasy, or there's different terms for it. But this did feel like a high fantasy D&D style story and world, and I loved learning about the gods. And although like Witch Hat, I maintained that magic system was one of my favorite magic systems I've ever seen in anything. But at least this story also tried to explain its magic, and it did have, I don't think as good of a system in place that Witch Hat had, but it had a good system. It's the world consists of mana. You have to like synchronize your mana within yourself with the mana that the earth is giving out, but people give out different amounts of mana at different times, and so do different places. So it's always a risk, and no one can ever say the same word exactly phonetically, sonically the same.
Because their magic is it's word activated.
Yeah.
There's no, unless I missed it, there's no like, magic happen. Well, that is what they say, but they're not like, they're not doing motions or holding like a stick.
Right.
It is like cut.
Yeah,
I like that part where he's like, okay, I have to understand what it is to cut something. Mm-hmm. Anything to justify magic being studied, I really like, because I am so tired of magic just being something you're either good at or you're not, and then I'm like, then what's the book for?
Right. Well, what's the point of studying it at all? But yeah, I mean, they do say that even like, if I can say the word like 4 times, I'm going to say it different. I can try to say it exactly the same, phonetically, sonically the same every single time, but there are going to be tiny variations in every way that I say it, and that way is going to affect the magic. Mm-hmm. And so I like that. I do think, again, Witch Hat was a little better, in my opinion. I enjoyed that a little bit more.
Well, Witch Hat is famous for like the best magic system in manga, right?
I mean, one of the best. I mean, and at least to me, it was really good, but I did like this. So I even these training montages that you guys are talking about, I didn't feel like they were as frequent. But
I will never be tired of a training montage if I care about the characters even a little bit. I think training montages are super fun. That's a great way to have someone be like, I can't do this, and I turn the page, and he's like, I'm doing a little better. I'm like, yeah, I genuinely like that. I will never get tired of seeing that. But it didn't make me care enough about this guy. Like, I was like, oh, word's cool. I don't care. It's word-based, fine.
So, yeah,
we've talked about how, like, there's things that I just will never get tired of. My favorite joke of all time is a guy falling down a hill for longer than he should.
So wild that this overcritical snob, that's his favorite joke is when people fall for too long.
There's 3 separate movies that do that bit. I laugh every time, and I'm like, I gotta.
It's pretty funny.
I mean,
yeah, because I'm like, you should have stopped falling by now.
It's pretty funny, but it's not that funny.
To your point, if you like fantasy and isekai, this is probably for you. If you don't, not for you.
I mean, that's probably a pretty safe thing because it is very fantasy, and you have to like fantasy, and you have to like the idea of mythology and gods.
Yes.
And again, and not to say that you don't.
Because I love a good fantasy.
I
genuinely like it. Okay, these aren't elves. They're whenever someone's like, it's not an elf. It's a magic douche. And then I'm like, oh, what? And they're like, but these, unlike normal elves, they have like a talon in the back of their neck. And I'm like, all right. I like anything that does a little variation on it. I still like that stuff. Still, though, I thought this was...
It has to be that this is like super... I'm shocked, but I'm also like very interested into like why and how this happened.
When did me and Cody not like something like this since we talked about ReZero?
This hasn't happened in... Actually, since we started.
Yeah.
That you two specifically were on the same side and I was on a completely different side. I think that might have to do with maybe a little bit of the fantasy, but Cody, you do love a good fantasy, and Megan, you like fantasy, but I don't think it's your favorite.
We both don't like isekai though. Although I have gone into isekai stories, but like
it's not my fave genre.
Yeah,
and if I like the character, because I've watched a couple, and if I really like the characters, I'll watch it or I'll read it. But these guys, I mean, they're cute, but they're not giving me anything yet. And maybe because that's what I'm saying. Like volume 2, I feel like. Maybe that's when the shit starts to go down and we get some other things answered because now he's an adult because you see him go from a child and now towards the end of volume 1 he's already going to be an adult. They say he's going to be like 18 or something 15. Already. 15? Mm-hmm. I guess that's an adult.
But even still then, like, not to cut you off, but even the little things there, like I'm getting little details about the world, and that's what I really like about how this society operates, just with like these tiny little breadcrumbs that I'm given about how birthdays even. When someone is born, they're automatically 1 year old. That in this civilization, there's no 0 because 0 is not a number. So every
Well, yeah,
winter
'cause they
solstice.
killed the guy who invented 0 in our world.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, some guy was like, "What if there was a number for nothing?" And they just killed him.
He's like, well, you're nothing, and then they fucking murdered him.
I would have loved to exist in that time where someone's like, "What if we just had nothing?" And they're like, "What if you fucking die?"
What if you fucking get out of here? Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, that's pretty gangster. I kind of like that story. But yeah, and that everybody turns. Everybody gets 1 year older on the winter solstice. Like just these little things about how like things in our history and the way our world works, are because of like a long history, and things get, sort of like telephoned over time, where they get altered over the years, and then they become the thing that we do today. And I like that this world seems to be implementing things like that and have things like that. And I understand that maybe you guys were bored by it, but it is interesting to me because it hasn't happened since ReZero this way, where we felt this strong about the series.
I wanted, it was interesting, but it just, wasn't interesting. Like, the things that they were saying, I was like, oh, that's cool, but, what? Do I care?
But that's the thing, Megan.
I don't understand why I felt this way. Really, genuinely, I could not place my finger on it. It just was not. It was not exciting. It was not.
I would have gotten more enjoyment just reading a bullet point of them saying, like, magic is done by words. We have birthdays on this. I would have gotten more pleasure from that than, like, reading this manga.
And you said crumbs, and it's like, just give me the fucking full slice first, and then give me the crumbs along the way to the second piece.
Oh,
like, at the bare minimum.
Bread, which we're getting bread in this story, too. And that's a beautiful part of the story.
I'm tying it in.
Great.
That was a tie-in.
Oh, okay. You did it on purpose.
That was set ablaze.
Set ablaze. And see, that's another thing. Quick, don't lose your point, Cody. But that's another thing, too. Every time I mention something from this story, you, and I think, honestly, react to it positively. You remember it fondly.
Exactly.
And say, like, oh, that's a good moment. That's a good moment. That's a good moment. How many moments is it going to take for you to realize that this is a story that you either like or don't like? Like, I think it's strange. I think it's strange that there are so many points that you like, but then the story as a whole.
I don't know. I could not tell you. It's so odd. And Cody is saying the same thing, so it must mean something.
No, I'm not
Something
saying what
about-
you're feeling isn't valid. I'm just curious.
And I mean, it felt like the story moved like it already. The story was moving in a way where it was like, oh, I should already care about these people. Or
I should know these things already to a degree.
They didn't set anything up. I got one line implying where he's like, I don't know what's going on. I remember, man, shit was fucked up in my previous life, but now I'm a baby and now I'm a kid. I'm like, oh, and now he's like, I want to learn words, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, so we can get gradual flashbacks to a point, and then we're gonna see his previous life, because I do not like someone just walking down a street and he's like, and oh, what am I? It says here, why does it look like a video game? Let me click here. It says I'm a +2 dark mage. I don't like that at all. I hate that. I like the idea of him being genuinely reborn into this world, keeping his memories. But they didn't do anything with that.
They didn't do anything with that yet, and it was enough. The mystery was enough.
Not for me, and I know that.
Period.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't enough for me, and I know that with one volume, one chapter, 3 pages, you can get me to care about a character, and they just didn't do it. And if I don't care about who this guy is, I don't care that he's like, oh, I want to cut a rock and I don't give a shit.
I really cared about not only William, but his internal monologue and the things he was going through and how he was feeling them and how he was expressing them and how people were hearing him. Blood and Gus and Mary who was so sweet and kind, and Gus who was so cold, but yet wanted begrudgingly to teach him. And then there is an interesting thing, which I think you were referencing, where something with Gus does happen that maybe you thought potentially could be this interesting road to go down, but then turns out to maybe be anticlimactic.
Which felt like, I was like, oh, my bad. Sorry. I guess my fault for thinking something was going to happen.
No, but I don't think you're wrong. I think that something's going to happen. I don't think that's over, that moment is resolved.
That was very odd.
Yeah, I mean, they cut to another page and he's like, maybe I'm not done. I'm like, I don't care. Wow. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for me to care about the breadcrumbs.
Wow.
And he was so gullible. And he's like, is this actually happening right now? And then like
that went on for like 3 pages.
And then the cop out where he's like, I'm not gonna fight you. I was just like,
that's
All
such
right,
a beautiful
do we want to talk
moment.
about?
Okay, let's talk about this moment.
Should we talk about this spoiler moment?
Let's talk about this spoiler moment.
Should we?
We have to, but I just want people to know that there might be spoilers. So
it's spoiler time.
Okay.
I like it. Is that a reference to something?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because she doesn't like the series.
And that's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get when Megan doesn't like the series.
So the thing is, he's like training, and I get the idea is like they're preparing him for something. I assume it's for like you have to leave and go be an adult.
Which he says.
Yeah.
Because this is a world full of things, full of beasts, full of other humans, full of all these things, and they're preparing him for it.
So he's gonna teach you how to say words, and they're gonna teach you how to fight, and then all right, go into the catacombs, and you're gonna, and then here's Gus, and he's gonna train you, and
No, not here's Gus.
Gus, well, here's Gus.
Right. Well, so let me just clarify it.
Here's Gus.
So I can give it an honest sort of summary. So yes, Blood is training him to be a fighter, and so Blood thinks he's at a level now because they have this very not cute, but it was cute interaction between them where Blood gets an undead to fight William, and William pretty much easily kills the undead.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this cute moment where William's jokingly like, I'm pretty fucking good, huh? And Blood's like, don't get cocky. And he's like, I'm kidding, I wasn't cocky. And he's like, no, we're going down to the catacombs since you think you're a genius. I'm going to take you down here and let's see how you fare against like a real threat. So he takes him down to the catacombs, gives him a moleskin or a bag of like rations, gives him a torch, gives him, I think, a weapon too. And he's just like, you're going to be down here for a couple days. There's a lot of scary undead creatures down here. It's going to take you a long time to get out. I'm out. Figure it out. We'll see what happens. I'll be waiting for you. So he's down there for days and days and days, slaughtering undead. Fairly easy, but getting tired, getting worn out. And then he comes across Gus, who's not supposed to be there. Now go.
So Gus goes, here I am. And
Right.
Gus, he does like
beats the shit out of him.
Yeah. Starts triple casting, which is something that he's, never been known to do.
Was that established that that's something that you can't normally do?
I'm gonna be
here's the deal.
I'm gonna be truthful. No, it wasn't.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because here's what I'm
They
gonna
made such
it
a
was
big
my-
deal out of it.
Yeah, it was my gut reaction to fight you on that, but I'm gonna be honest and say no, it was
because
not.
I will give the story the benefit of the doubt because I was like I got to the point like I don't care if there are parts where I'm wrong, just tell me and then I'll drop it and I'll admit I was wrong and I should have paid more attention. But so they do a thing where he's like, because that's how it felt to me, where I'm like, he's triple casting. I'm like, oh, does that matter?
Yeah, they said at least 3 times. He was like, triple casting? Oh my god, Gus is triple casting. Oh,
it must be serious.
Like,
if
oh
he's-
my god.
I mean, context clues. I got it though.
No, I get when a character says out loud it's a big deal that this is happening. Sure. But I should have I should have had like an establishment of power levels to know that like, oh, dual casting is pretty hard, and then he triple casts. I mean, does that happen?
Out of everything you've said, go ahead, Megan.
Or he's like, don't triple cast, William. You could lead to more dangerous things. Okay, cool. I will remember that moment
And
when
then
it
it's
comes
like,
to here.
But why is Gus doing it?
Look, out of everything you guys have said about the series, and even though I kind of still disagree with you about this point, I'll at least give you this. That yes, it was not established, and yes, it might have held more weight had it been established.
Yeah, so
I'll
think
give it to you.
the vibe I feel on that is, here's the thing that like, sure, I can piece together that is a big deal because a character says out loud multiple times it's a big deal. But that's not how you get me to care about something happening. You get me to care by having someone be like, this is pretty dangerous, or don't do this, or you set a breadcrumb. I said that more dickish than I meant to.
Yeah, but I got it. I got what you were going for.
Dickish?
Yeah, Cody's very aware that he has this issue.
I catch myself and I go, nope,
Yeah.
not this time.
Not this time.
And now you know if I never correct myself, I meant it.
Right.
So like that, I think that is kind of my problem with this entire manga. That little thing. It's not awful. It's not bad. It's not like, oh, that ruins the story. I'm sort of just like,
Okay, well,
And I would have liked when he's fighting him and he just accepts that he's going to die at the hands of Gus. Pretty much, he's like, you know what?
Because they do some fighting, and then William keeps like he does the nullify spell. I liked that fight because Gus will be like, I don't know, fire. He goes nullify, sleep, nullify, knockout, nullify, and that's the whole interaction. And then William goes like, you know what, just. I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you. Just kill me. Like, why would he be so gullible to this fact that he's just going to die at the hands of, like, this guy who's known him all his life? I would have rather have been, like, a test, like, where that was, like, a fake Gus or something, and it was Gus on the sidelines, like, using, like, a puppet or something. That would have been way more interesting than it was actually Gus. They don't talk about it after, and it's just like, oh, yeah, like, what? Like,
I think that the fact that it is a real Gus and that they don't talk about it makes it way more interesting, because to me, it's not him being gullible, right? It's him in that situation, fighting, convinced that it's some sort of test, that Gus is testing it. But then there's this line of dialogue that I thought was really beautiful where finally, after... Because Gus is not responding to William at all. William's like, Gus, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Stone-faced.
Yeah, and he's just, and he has this moment where he's like, this guy is legit. I know him. He's trained me. He's raised me. He's like, he even calls him, I think, he's like my grandfather. He's trying to kill me. He realizes that. He realizes that it's not a test, that it's not a joke, that he's really trying to kill him.
But at the same time,
he's not.
The spells he's casting are to knock him out, not kill him.
But then that's the realization that he comes to, and he says that he feels bad for thinking that Gus would ever want to kill him.
Because if he wanted to kill him, he could have just set him on fire before announcing he was there.
Exactly, and because everything in that catacomb is undead.
So yeah, the problem then becomes
why? Because
there's a reason that Gus wants to take him out. Gus has always been kind of weird towards William, and there is a reason for that.
So you're saying that this moment Gus was actually genuinely trying to kill him?
Not actually genuinely trying to kill him, but actually genuinely trying to take him out and trying.
You're saying the same thing.
Not take the life away from him, but to
take
harm
him out.
I'm going to say I assume, because maybe they flat out said this and I didn't pay attention. I assume. Like, he tried to get him to fail that test so he couldn't leave.
See, here's what I think. I think it's a little more sinister than that. Because of the exact exchange that they have after, and I think this is so beautifully written, where Gus, at a certain point when William's like, I trust you, I don't know what's going on, I don't know why you're doing this, you raised me, but I'm just you could have killed me, you haven't killed me, but you do want to take me out for some reason. I don't know why, but you must have some kind of crazy reason, and I just have to trust you. Just like that is echoed in his decision for his reason for going into the chamber that Mary was praying in. And it turns out that she was like setting herself on fire, and it was very painful.
We can talk about that scene as a side note or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like they feed William like banquets of food and bread, and you're like, but they wouldn't have to eat food,
right?
They don't. Mary. That's her
Mary.
name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she prays to the god of food.
The Mother Earth, pretty much. The martyr.
Mom, god of like fertility or something like that.
Yeah.
And
what?
Nothing. But because Mary's like an undead, unholy being, by praying to that holy god, it sets her on fire because of stuff. So it's like, oh, every meal is like a sacrifice, but she loves him so much. That was all great.
Right. But here's what's interesting about Mary, though, is she was praying to that goddess before William even came into the picture, because the deal that she made was an exact contradiction to the laws of nature. So she's basically going against that goddess. So every time she prays to that goddess, she's painfully cast and set on fire. So it's like, who is Mary and why is she doing this? But let's get past that, right? But I think because William was told to never go check on her, and then, went against everything that everybody told him, broke in, saw her on fire, tried to rescue her because he thought she was in real danger, and ended up burning and scarring his hands. So I think that was like a setup and a beautiful moment and a lesson for when he has this interaction with Gus later, to go like, this is the Mary thing all over again. It looks bad, but my hands are like, I have these scars, and to remember like that I should just believe in these people that care about me, and just trust that whatever they're doing is for some sort of purpose. So he throws his weapons down and he confronts Gus. And then Gus, this is what I liked about it, says like, you passed the test, whatever. But William has this line of dialogue that's like, It's funny to me that he wants me to think that this is a test, because William knows that Gus is contradicting himself, that he's just trying to save face right now. And he has that moment of dialogue where he says, it's weirder. It's not weirder to me that he was trying to kill me. It's weirder to me that he's trying to pretend like he wasn't. And I think that that's a really cool moment. And then what happens is it's not gone forever. It's there. William doesn't tell Mary, doesn't tell Blood, doesn't tell anybody, but they have these passing glances at each other. And they're looking at each other like, I'm not going to ask you why you did that, but you fucking did that.
And if they knew, they'd beat your ass.
And then they have the moment where he does kind of call him out on it.
Yeah.
But it's this thing of like, okay, so he wasn't trying to kill him though.
He was.
All of the spells were to knock him out.
Right. Let's say like not kill him, right, knock him out or whatever.
And then, so the if the idea was like, sure, like I'll have the skeletons kill him so I don't get caught for killing him. That's a logical motive there. But like, unless that is the case, because I don't remember being told that in volume 1, I feel like that's something that should have been resolved by then, because it's like nothing really got resolved for me.
I mean, it's an ongoing series, though, so I don't need anything to be resolved. And it also harkens back to that moment in the forest where Gus called him trash out of nowhere, you know?
Well, he is.
I mean, he's pretty cool, though. Trash can be cool.
I mean, look at you.
I knew I was setting myself up. I was trying to, like...
Got him.
No, I was trying to get out of it, and I really just made it easier.
Get out of the trash can?
Because I was going to not do anything, but I'm like, I was like, okay, you want me to say something.
Yeah, you were like feeding into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was feeding.
Kind of like a raccoon eating the trash.
Oh,
Yeah.
back to me eating a lot, huh? Back to me feeding.
Back to
eating
facts.
No.
Back to facts. Sure. I mean, all that, like that implication that like maybe there's, but so far he didn't lie about trying to kill him. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was trying to knock him out at worst so he could like die there. But
he's up to something, though. There's something with William being the only human there and the mystery that surrounds this undead city. There's something to that. There's something to these undead raising him. There's something to Blood bringing him back.
For sure. All of that. There's definitely a deeper story going on. But this volume completely failed at making me care about it.
I mean, I guess I can see how you can feel that way, but I just did not feel that way.
It teach his own.
And then
when there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, I see. I did like that.
Okay,
yeah.
And
plus we get a little beach episode. What was that?
I was gonna say. Oh, it's Tokyo Revenge.
Oh, she's gonna do everything.
I'm glad you.
I'm glad you stopped yourself. I'm glad you stopped yourself. The gambling scene is like a little mini beach episode. It's fun.
Oh my god! There was one line I was like, "That was pretty funny," and then it was like,
it was a cute moment. It was like a little slice of life moment that we get to spend with these.
Now, I would have liked more of that. To care.
We got a lot of it.
We barely got any of it.
And
barely got any of it.
We got a lot of
it.
No,
who win?
All the moments that he had with Blood and Gus and Mary especially.
The 2 moments they had.
Mary especially when he's in the garden with her and she's teaching him all these things. And then the other moment with her and just her kind of being this like parental figure to all of them and like scolding them. Like they had these personalities that were fun and light, and I could see them living together.
That would be great at the beginning, not at the end, where I've kind of already checked out. Not kind of. I've already checked out, and I've read just enough to be able to maintain a conversation for an episode.
Wow.
Also, I feel like it doesn't. All right. Is this an isekai? Because
it is. Yeah.
It doesn't capitalize on the things you can do with it, to me.
Purposely, it goes against a lot of the tropes of a traditional isekai. And that's, I think, what it does well, and that's what I think it does on purpose.
Because, like, if this was a fantasy where he was like, I was a baby that was born and raised by, like, undead beings, it would have been exactly the same. The only thing right now that is different is at the beginning, and like, at some point he goes, and also, I was isekai'd. But it's already set up to be a reveal later because they don't know that. The 3 undead, Blood, Mary, and Gus, don't know that. And like, there's a very specific, I'm assuming, reason for him keeping it from them. And
all of it's so much mystery that I think is surrounding this whole story for his reasons for doing things, for Gus's reasons, for Mary's reasons, for Blood's reasons, like. And I love all of it. And I love that we're getting a glimpse of the world and the gods that created this world too, because it doesn't seem like, it seems like they are not necessarily quite the traditional kind of gods that we've seen before either. I mean, this is just like what I'm getting from all of this. And it seems like you guys don't care.
I think we both just reacted the way how we felt reading this. You're going into it does go into gods, and it's sort of like it does.
It does. It really does.
It's so crazy.
It does.
But I mean, if that was on camera, you got to see like if you were like, how do they feel? You can show that shot. That's how we feel about the series. Like,
do you think
all of that is true.
Do you think
I don't care.
The gods though? Do you think they'll like come down and like be a pivotal part in the?
There's gonna be the god of resurrection. They're gonna be like, I chose you from your isekai world, and then.
I'm gonna finish this series out of spite.
Please.
Also, I mean, don't you like it?
I also really do like
it.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it out of spite, then you don't like it that much.
No, I love it, but I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure that I read it.
No, he said he's gonna drink it with Sprite.
Is that another fat joke?
No.
It was so
silly and absurd that it made you laugh. It was Megan falling down a hill for too long.
Brought it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that.
All right, look, we've been talking about this series for a while, and I do like the way we've been talking about it because it hasn't been a traditional volume 1 episode where we kind of break things down and kind of talk about the series and the things we like about it or don't like about it. It's been sort of a debate.
That is what happened.
Yeah.
But it's been more of a debate on me trying to understand why you guys don't like it and trying to convince you that it's.
Well, you really thought we were gonna be like, oh yeah, the series is.
Well, no, but I thought you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I could see that.
No,
that's like, what we just did. Oh yeah,
but at the end, and now I like it.
Well, and I don't think either of us know exactly what makes this so, because it's not bad. It's not an awful manga.
Right.
But like something about the way they executed it.
Just in the first volume.
Didn't hit the notes it's supposed to hit for me to make me care.
And I would love all the Far Away Paladin heads out there. Comment and say what you love about the series, because maybe me and Cody are just some Williams over here. And
well, William's cool.
Oh God.
So we're definitely
yeah. Just let us know, because honestly, we can't pinpoint the things that we don't like about it. We can definitely, but it's just why? Like why?
I have read worse mangas, but I didn't have this initial feeling of like I don't like this story. Like there'll be I'll be like, well, let me give it a chance, but for some reason the way this was done, I was like I don't expect it to change my mind. From what I'm seeing, I'm not going to care, and then I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, I really cannot bring myself to care.
Look, I hear you guys, but I don't get you guys.
I hear you guys.
Because, yeah, I hear what you're saying. You don't know what it is. And I've experienced things like that, definitely not this, but I've experienced things like that where I can't put my finger on why this is not just doing it for me. But it is more interesting to me, I guess, and I wish we could get to the bottom of it, but it is just more interesting to me that when I bring things up, that you react as if they're pleasant things that you enjoy.
Because only pinpointing the good parts of the
manga.
And
we're not saying it's a garbage trash manga. That's not, so like when you say like that is good, I'm like, yeah, that was good.
It's not a Josh manga.
You're the one
with Sprite.
Who's all green. Oscar.
Fuck you!
Oscar the Grouch over here.
Stop!
You can shit on me for an entire episode.
Okay.
But I say one thing and you lose your mind?
I think I'm gonna have to make a phone call to the Yikes department on that one.
Okay. Megan, fine. You're not Oscar the Grouch.
Wow.
You're Elmo. Is that a good gasp or a bad gasp?
You said you wanted to be Elmo.
Yeah.
You said you were Elmo.
You guys, why are you putting words in my mouth?
And Ernie, which
because you keep putting fucking blow pops in your mouth.
Stop.
And it's turning your whole goddamn mouth.
You don't like it when I'm angry.
Yeah, because your tongue's gonna turn into the Hulk. It's already halfway there.
Do you want to hear my final thoughts or not?
I do.
Is it time for final thoughts?
Yeah, it's time for final thoughts.
The story, I would assume, gets really going once we learn Will's past. But as of right now, nothing excited me, and I was left with no drive to continue reading.
Ditto.
Okay. I just wanted to try it. It's so fun.
Try what?
Being entertaining.
Yeah. Terrible. That was terrible.
That was pretty good.
That was
Fuck
fucking
you.
terrible.
You want to talk about my blow bop?
Yeah, talk about your blow bop. Yeah.
He got you.
Yeah, I fucking got you, Oscar. Anyway, look, I completely understand. Do you have anything to add, Cody? Because I want to go on like a 2-minute.
That's exactly it. Like I assume that this story will go into things and be like, and then it'll be like, and that's why that was, and that's why that was. But it's like, you should have hit at least some notes for me to care about that. It's not that I don't have faith that the writer is going to like do this stuff. It's that it failed to make me care about it.
Maybe start on volume 2, huh?
No. I like volume 1.
Or 3.
It's only a 4-part series, I think, too. Because when I read volume 1, it said part 1 of 4.
Part 1 of 4.
Is this a volume done we can do in one episode?
Well, I mean,
don't suggest that.
I would love to keep reading this series.
Only you have to read 4 volumes.
I would love to read it, and I would love to talk more about it.
And we get to pick our own.
No, you guys don't get to pick.
The
Cody's
12
in it.
part.
No, and also whispering is terrible on a podcast because nobody can hear you.
No, we're doing it just enough to come across like they can hear it muffled, but it'll still be there.
Josh can't hear us.
No, because he's a little bitch baby.
Okay,
Who kisses
I'm
and
not.
shits himself all the time.
Okay, if anything, I'm a William. I'm a Blood. I'm a.
Jesus, gang affiliated now?
No, I'm a Blood like from the story.
Yeah, all right, Finn, give your final thoughts because
Yes,
all I can do is repeat myself.
Look, I genuinely, sincerely, and honestly love this series. I understand what you guys were saying, and I can even get where you can get those things from, and I understand how you can feel that way. I just did not feel that way. I thought the lore, the world, everything about this series was super interesting. The gods, the magic systems, the characters, the family. I loved this, like, your family is who you make it kind of feeling that it has, that all this ragtag group of different individuals are coming together and loving and caring for one another. What, Megan?
It's just everything you're saying. I'm like, yes, 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 it is that, but I don't give a fuck.
I loved it so much.
Yeah,
These
I mean,
characters-
I just started when you were saying this. I'm like, that's
You're
true.
hitting it.
And
You're really getting it.
I just feel myself
all of the
just
nuances
receding into my mind, waiting for you to finish.
But it's just it's so lovely that you really took away all that from this series.
I connected
because
with it.
I understand everything. I understand the complexities. It's just it wasn't complex enough.
Yeah, that whole thing about like a family that you found, it's in there.
It's beautiful.
So
and
good.
you're right, and that is a good story thing. But who?
I do, and I think if you love fantasy, period, and if you love isekai as well, but if you love fantasy, high fantasy, any kind of fantasy.
Oh, Megan likes high.
Yeah, Megan likes that 420 fantasy, you know?
That's why my tongue's green.
Yeah,
all that weed.
That's
All
why
that
your tongue's green.
weed.
Look, I think this is a series, and if anything, I recommend reading at least the first volume so you can settle this argument between us.
Honestly,
Please.
I've never wanted someone. If you can, maybe we can study this phenomenon. Because either
True, yes.
you'll read it and you'll be like, okay, those two are wrong, and you're shitting over my favorite manga. Or they'll be like, I've experienced this too. I'm like, what is it? And they'll be like, I don't know. And we just form the society of people who are like, I also gain nothing from reading this. And we're like,
Yeah, maybe it's the red shirt, gold shirt, whatever brown shirt it was. Remember that thing?
what?
Remember that shirt?
what?
Remember that shirt and that picture?
Oh, you're
on
down the
internet?
dress.
Oh, the dress.
The dress.
The dress.
Is it a
blue or gold?
It was like
or
white
something.
and gold or blue and black.
I can't.
And then
remember.
people would show me pictures of them side by side, and I'd be like, well, that one's black and blue, and that one's white and gold. They're like, yeah, but someone colorated them. Like, they edited which one, because I can see them side by side.
Yeah, I didn't get that phenomenon. I think it was just
I think-
people colorblind or something.
I think someone added a color filter, and then the two images were shown. Because people would tell me, like, well, no, this should be white and gold, but they put a color filter over it to make it black and blue. So I'm like,
it's kind of like the manga.
and and then ultimately, what that whole phenomenon was like, who gives a shit?
Okay. But it's interesting when you find out why the phenomenon exists. And let's just get to the bottom of that because I stand by my recommendation.
Come up with a term for this phenomenon of like reading something that you're like, this isn't bad. It has very good moments in it. And it does a lot of things that a story should do. But I don't like it. What should we call that? Farawayism.
Far away. I've been far away.
And also, where is this paladin who's so far away? I haven't seen him once.
That's the mystery.
Paladin? More like pal of shit.
Oh, you know what? I actually did like that.
Yeah, it's not bad, but also...
It's not a pile of shit. I take that back. Honestly, there's a lot of work that went into this, and I do feel everything that you're saying, and I genuinely wish I felt the same, but I just don't.
I get any positives you have said, I don't disagree with.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it.
Okay, then look, hear us out. Do us a favor. We're going to stop talking about this because we're going to keep going in circles. But at least do this. Check out this series however you can and let us know what you think. Because I genuinely am curious to know if you feel the same way I feel or if you feel the same way they feel. Because I don't think what they're saying isn't valid or what I'm saying isn't valid. I just think it's this weird, like Cody said, phenomenon.
There's a gene that makes you like this manga. And there's a gene where you're like, I don't get it.
Oh, it's because we're both Aquarius.
Oh, that's
probably it.
Oh, and you're
Yeah, I'm a Sag.
Yikes.
Opposite of yikes, dude. Pretty unyikes.
No, well, that's a very Sagittarius thing. Isn't it?
And what you're doing is a whole Aquarius thing to say.
Well, yeah, because I am an Aquarius.
Yeah, gross.
Dipshit.
Oh, really? Oh, really? We're gonna go there. We're gonna lower.
Sag.
Dip sag?
Like
with your Sprite.
I don't get the Sprite thing.
Of course you don't. You're a Sagittarius.
Anyway, look, I am a person who
honestly
loves good
tell us your astrological sign, because at this point I'll take any explanation.
I'm someone who appreciates a good story, and if you are too, then you'll love this series.
Why do you have to end on it?
Yeah, you really have to discredit us like that for our opinions.
I'm just saying, let us know what you think.
Sagittarius thing
And think whatever you want to think.
What are those horses?
Yeah, they're
A
like
horse from the waist down.
That's maybe a horse fetus.
That's dumb. What you said is fucking dumb.
No.
that was dumb. What'd you say was fucking
You're dumb, and I love you for watching and listening.
Oh
and we're not
Each
done
week.
yet, but we are
week.
done with the review portion of this episode. Again, this has been a great, if anything, experiment in deep dive into our psyche.
And let us know if you want us to read more mangas where one of us likes and the other one doesn't, and then we'll that'll keep happening. We'll
usually we pick some good ones and we all like it. You know?
Yeah,
Or
but
we all
someone
don't
was
like
like,
it.
I was actually kind of mad at you. Because I was like, I was
so mad at you for like suggesting that we read Blame.
That's fair.
I was like, and I know what you're saying, and I get what you're saying about being mad at me, because I was reading that manga and I was fucking livid.
And what's
dude.
great, I didn't even read that. Because that was back in the day where like only like certain people read the manga. So I was like, so how was that? And they were like, it was bad. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
I was like, I remember being like sitting down reading it and just being full of rage, dude. I was rageful.
And then, like, did you realize that, like, I didn't even read that?
I didn't put it together until right now. And you're lucky I'm over it and I'm past it.
You're like, I'm over this table right now.
But anyway, yeah, let us know.
Blame is a very weird manga that we put in a hat, and I was like, oh, maybe that one. And they had to read it, and I didn't.
Have you heard that new not new? Have you heard that David Bowie song? Blame.
Is that how that song really goes?
No, it's Fame. You dipshit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a music connoisseur.
Connoisseur?
Connoisseur of. I was gonna say.
I'm connoisseur of music.
Okay, now you sound like Sylvester.
Yeah, you sound like
the
Sid.
Mad Hatter.
Oh, the Mad Hatter.
Anyway, I think we're in the
Wonder Circle. Thank you so much
Are
for
we
making
in
it
the
this far. I mean, look, we got a little
Thank you for
off the
watching.
tracks because I feel passionate about this series and they feel nothing. So
we feel passionate about how apathetic we are.
you guys feel passionate about feeling nothing.
That's gonna be my biography.
And the Wonder Circle, if you don't know, is where we read comments from previous videos and just kind of react to them and respond to them. So if you want your comment to be read in a future episode, then just leave a comment on this video or any of our previous videos, and we might pick it and we might read it and we might talk about it. What are your guys' comments?
do you want to start?
No.
No, you said
Okay,
no.
I always go first, but okay. This one comes from Gotchi Reviews.
Oh, shout out Gotchi.
Shout out Gotchi on our Tokyo Revengers episode. Megan starts with M. Mikey starts with M. Both beat the shit out of each other's. Just saying. So he's implying that I'm a badass and I beat the shit out of people. That's on the record.
Right. So you're yeah. No one's doubting that you're like not tough and that you don't.
No, I just wanted to reiterate it for people who didn't see the comic because I just wanted them.
Yeah, you should see what she does to us off camera. You know.
Yeah, if
No,
they
it
talk
gets
shit
violent,
like
yeah.
today.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a real talk.
That's
too
why,
after
because
this
I'll be
episode.
honest, I actually love that manga, but I was like, well, Megan
Megan
no.
said she didn't like it, so I have to agree.
said she
Yeah.
didn't like it. I guess it's not good.
Yeah, as soon as we stop recording, me and Cody are gonna get the shit beat out of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the price of pursuing your art.
yeah. I mean, we love doing it. I mean, we don't love getting the shit beat out of us, but you know, if we,
C'est la vie.
yeah,
Sail up when in Rome.
yeah, it comes with working with talent like Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Divas.
Divas.
Hey.
Yeah.
I was talking about.
You're gonna
something
get
else.
another lashing. For
I was
that, Cody.
talking about something else.
50 lashings after the podcast.
That's
Great
I'll-
comment. Shout out Gotchi,
I'll read,
long-time listener.
Ryan Joseph.
Ryan Joseph.
Will you guys do Shadow's House? It's from the author of Kyoro. It has a similar premise, but with a more focused plot, as an anime coming out April 10th.
It is on my watch list, and I'm very excited.
Now, Kyoro might be one of my favorite mangas of all time. Not enough for me to learn how to actually pronounce that word, but I love that. I love that story. It's a shame that it's not that popular.
It's a shame that it's one of the lowest viewed episodes that we've ever done.
It's actually something that makes me sad. But
yeah.
if they have a more popular thing coming out, maybe we can check that out, and then we can slowly ease our way back into doing a Kyoro volume done, which is one of my goals here.
It looks very cute, and it looks very mysterious.
I
And
read
that's
I read
Kyoro.
the first chapter.
Oh, you did?
Oh.
Yeah, I was so curious because I
Curious.
I did love Kyoro. I did love it.
I fucked up.
I did love it. It was one thing that you did recommend that I actually enjoyed reading, and I wished that people enjoyed that episode a little bit more because that would have meant we could have got to talk about more of it and read and review more of it. But
C'est
with
la
this-
vie.
C'est la vie. And you're gonna get another lashing for that.
That's fair.
But because I love this mangaka so much and their art style and their way of telling stories, I read chapter 1 because I wanted to see what it was about. It's all in color, at least from what it seemed to me. Not just chapter 1, but the chapters that follow are all in color. Here's the weird thing, though. There's not an official English release of the series. It's been released in French. It's been released.
The French got it before us?
Yeah. Isn't that fucking absurd?
That's...
Okay.
You've been saying
Okay,
c'est la vie.
okay,
you know.
pardon.
I know. I'm like,
Okay.
it's too late.
Pardon my French. But what the fuck?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Got him.
That was great, and that's
got
what we
ye.
needed. We were drowning. Yeah, I really do want to read
Drowning.
more of this series, and I really do.
Sacre bleu.
What? You just said a French term.
No,
But
he
that
said
would I could have used that word. I could have said that.
yeah, but it was like a little too late.
No, I agree.
yeah.
All of that, you're right.
Yeah.
But that would have been a good one to
Cordon
use.
bleu.
Yeah. Okay.
La cordon bleu.
Okay. But yeah, I'm down to check it
It's a
out. I already
funny
read the
joke,
first
actually.
chapter.
I actually really liked it.
It's cool, but it's like I don't. It's so odd to me that I'm a little nervous about reading it in its entirety because I don't know. It's just weird to me that there's no English release
Wow,
even
that's
digitally.
kind of insensitive of you.
Well, I'm just saying, like fan translations.
Megan brings up a good point.
I've been having a lot
Let's
of bad luck with
unpack
them
that.
lately, and so I've been really wanting to read officially released translations because I've had, like I said, some bad experiences.
Sure.
And don't you think it's a little odd? Like, why not? If the story is getting an anime adaptation, then you would think it's popular enough to merit multiple releases. As far as I understand, it's in Japanese and in French, and then it's obviously fan translated. But why not? What about in other countries?
No, it's wild that the French get it before English.
What
When
about
English
a Chinese
is rules the-
translation?
Yeah.
What about I don't know a lot
Are
of
you just gonna
languages.
keep?
What about Spanish?
Are you
What about
seriously
Spanish?
just gonna leave listing more languages?
Yeah.
Because we get the point. The point's done. What do you?
What
gotta-
about a? What about a? You know.
These are all good points, but you only needed to make it one time.
Yeah.
Can you not name another language?
What about? You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
What if we watch the anime and maybe we can do something with that?
I would love to watch it. It looks really cool. There's a little trailer or teaser trailer thing out, and it looks really cool. And
I'm a sucker for an anime with like Victorian style outfits and setting. I love that shit. Give me that shit on a plate, and I'll eat it all up.
I'm surprised you didn't say I'd eat it, but
Josh, you're.
all right.
Are you okay?
All right. Well, whatever.
You all right?
I wanted to. I look.
The most undeserved segue
Yeah, it was fucked up.
of all
I had to get the ball rolling.
Oh my
Fuck, it was so
god!
fucked up.
Momentum and oh my god, she's crying.
Yeah. She's crying, and she's crying because it was something that was at my expense and something she agreed with so much that it brought her to tears.
Oh my god.
This is from a commenter, Oz-chan, who is a new listener / viewer.
Welcome to the.
Yes, welcome to the club.
She's in the middle of crying, but she'll still do the sing along stuff.
And she or they or he say that their comment says, literally just discovered the channel, listened to 4 episodes already. I liked Given, but after some point it got boring. I really liked the potential of a music anime / manga, so I started searching and found an anime called Beck. It's about a boy who discovers a dream in becoming a musician in a band, and the anime is great with a wholesome OST, but where it truly shines is its story after the anime and its manga. I suggest you at least give it a try. It's my favorite story ever, and I found it appropriate to mention it because it's also about music. It's not a BL, though. And so shout out to Oz-chan. Look, if you also love music, anime, or manga, definitely check out Carol and Tuesday. I don't know if you guys have seen that series, but it's amazing, and I think it's on Netflix too. And it's like a beautiful story about these 2 girls who start a band on Mars, but it's not Mars. They might as well not be on Mars. It's so weird that they have to say.
Oh,
they're
they
on a
might as
different
well
planet.
not do the premise because it's kind of doesn't contribute to the story.
Okay, I don't like where you're going with this.
I'm just clarifying what
right.
you're saying.
Yikes.
These are all things that you have said, and I just wanted to make sure I heard you correct because I fear as though the headphones may have misinterpreted.
Your fears are correct. Yeah. Your headphones don't work.
These are just for show.
These are
Yeah.
just
So
those are
people
just for
think
show.
I'm cool for having headphones.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that series. How about this? We'll do a little trade. Oz-chan, I'll check out Beck if you will check out Carol on Tuesday, and then we could talk about it and let each other know. Look, I just want to. I'm a sucker for a good music anime. Also, check out Kids on the Slope. It's a jazz anime. Fantastic. But as far as music anime go, I'll definitely check Beck out. I've actually heard of it and seen like trailers or things of it, but I've never watched it. So I'll check it out. Yeah. That's the Wonder Circle. Thank you guys for all of your wonderful comments. Look, we're in a little bit of a comment renaissance right now, and we really greatly appreciate
We
it.
definitely we're getting worried at a certain point,
Yeah,
but
we're like, man, we're not really getting a lot of comments. What the fuck
No.
did we do?
but we're back, baby.
Yeah, and so I want to read more. I want to see if maybe we can do another round of volume of a Wonder Circle where we read maybe multiple comments each. But
At this point, I think we should just bank them for when we hit a dry spell.
right, which seems to be inevitable.
When you're doing 2 episodes a week, because soon we'll be caught up with all the stuff we want to do.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think what Cody's saying
Tell
is
your
that
friends.
if we didn't get to your comment in this episode, then there's a very good chance that we'll get to it in a future episode. We're going to be, I think if you made it this far, it's important to let you know that we're going to be doing a Volume 1 redone of Vigilantes.
Hey, how about a babe?
It's a series that Cody loves, and it's near and dear to his heart. And look, we read it once, but we didn't all read it, and it was back in the days.
Why do you sound like you're not happy?
I'm very happy.
Oh.
Doesn't make any sense.
What? No, we were just whispering information.
Okay, well, you're lucky you were whispering and I couldn't hear you.
Good.
But we're going to be doing a volume 1 redone of Vigilantes because it was back in the days where we didn't all read the entire first volume, and we've talked about how that was a very dumb idea. But we're also going to be getting into our next volume done after that, which is going to be Goodnight Pun Pun.
Oh, yeah, so me.
We just wanted to take a little break, a little emotional, to get emotionally recharged so that we could tackle this series, but we're going to be doing it next week.
Understand what it's like to commit yourself to be very sad for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. But I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait. So definitely stay tuned Saturday for the redone of Vigilantes, and then next Saturday for our first or part 2 volume done of Pun Pun. That's it for another wonderful, fun, great, amazing episode of Volume 1.
It was magical.
It was magical. I mean, at least it was magical.
I thought
for me.
I died and was reborn into a world where magic existed among friends and podcasts.
And I had a mummy.
And yes.
You had a mummy?
Mm-hmm.
Solid joke to really end the episode on.
Mm-hmm.
Until next week.
And I had a bone daddy.
I like that. I like that. Now that's a really solid note to leave the episode.
I feel like this is not the first time you have referred to a character as a bone daddy.
No. Won't be the last either.
I like it. I want a bone daddy. Speaking of bone daddies, shout out to our Patreon members. Thank you guys so much for being our bone daddies and just supporting us. We love you guys, each and every one of you. You guys are the fucking best. If you want to be a Patreon member, you can go to patreon.com/volume1pod.
Well, we should mention that you brought a Viking helmet on because you wanted to do a little dress up for this, and then we realized there are no Vikings in this manga, but you wanted the hat to be in the shot. So if you're like, what's up with that? That's why.
Yeah. I got it before I read the manga, and I thought even before reading it, like it's not very Paladin-esque, but I figured, it's close. I've seen dwarves in fantasy wear helmets like that, and then I read the series, and I'm like, it has nothing to do with it. And I just wasted $10. And I feel dumb.
I mean, you're going to return it.
Oh, for sure. I'm going to return it.
Yeah.
But even if you're not a Patreon member, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And do us a favor, if you've made it this far, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe because it helps us out, especially with a video like this that it's an isekai. It's the first time we've done it. I don't know how popular this series is. So to help us just get out in front of more people, it would help if you just gave it a thumbs up if you do like it. And if you don't like it, then, I'm sorry.
Then I guess, we'll just go away.
Yeah, we'll do better next time.
Each week.
Okay. And until next time, the only thing that's left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that's always the same and never changes. And Megan, for the love of God, give us a good one.
Volume 1, more like Paladin.
Okay. Honestly, yeah.
I hate how passionate you are about liking it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time.
Volume 1, more like Paladin.
You're
done with the... I'm done.
Let me know. I'm going to keep reading. I'm
ready.
Oh, that was...